This is a Micro Ned Rig fly that I like to tie. I've been experimenting with this for a few weeks now and just doing a bunch of them in different colors. And what you're going to start off with is this really sexy mosquito hook from Bass Pro Shop. I think you get like 50 of them for less than $10. It's a pretty good value. I'm using a large bead, and the eye of the hook on this hook is big enough to where that bead's not going to pop off. That's one of the reasons why I like this hook so much. Take some thread. I believe I'm using some white, but for this fly, like, you could use a bright red thread. It's going to be covered on the material except for at the absolute neck behind the back end of the bead when you finish it off. So it'd be nice to leave like a red or an orange hot spot, but I'm just using white so that it blends into this chenille that I'm about to put on. The first thing you're going to do when it comes to attaching things to the hook is going to be getting some monofilament. I'm using some 8-pound test here, and I bet if you used 4-pound test, it would be even better, mainly just because the 8 pounds test is pretty stiff. And so what I'm going to do next is go get some 4-pound test. I don't actually have any, and then try and tie that in to see if it gives a little bit more action to the tail end of this fly. But it doesn't really matter. Even though this fly is a little bit more stiff than just loose material would be, it still catches a ton of fish. I'm using kind of like a tan sparkle chenille. You see these, any fly shop that's got people tying stone flies and variations of different worms is going to be able to sell this material to you. You can also find some online. Super easy, not that expensive. I think it's like $5.99 for a pack that'll last you 30 or 40 flies worth. But you're going to tie in that material, and the reason I'm tying in near the back is so that I can walk it all the way up and have it be evenly spaced for like the body on the shank of the hook. I'm using this big hook in the back just to grip the lasso so that I can hold it in place when I'm doing these wraps. And one of the comments I get sometimes on the internet with this fly is, well, why wouldn't you just tie in a mop fly material instead of having to do all the wraps and spend all the time doing it? And my answer to that is that this fly is very durable because it's wrapped around the monofilament, and then also you're going to glue it in 2 different points. So if you were to just say I really want this material color, and so, okay, I'm going to figure out a way to get this on a hook and throw it as a fly. Well, you'd most likely twist it until it forms like a butt, and then you'd tie that butt like mop fly material directly onto a hook. If you do that, which I've done before, that fly will eventually just disintegrate because it's not very strong when it doesn't have anything underneath it holding it to something. And so my answer to that was using the mono, because when I'm fishing, especially in lakes with warmer water here in Central Texas, I'm catching lots of perch, and they'll just nick at it. So that really makes other types of worm flies get destroyed. Right here, I'm putting in some hare's dubbing. I think it's called Polar White with Sparkle. And again, you can get pretty much any dubbing color that's going to be a hot spot. You could put a bright orange, you could put a bright green. I'm just trying to match the color of the chenille. And the reason why I've done the wraps and pulled it up is so that I can gently pull them back to cover up this dubbing once you put it into that loop that we've made. You just kind of pinch your fingers together and rub it like a snake as if you're a kid playing with Play-Doh, and that will make the shape that you need in order to thread it into that loop. Once you've done that, you tie off with a knot. I'm going to snip it and then put some super glue kind of around the edges, and you're practically done. All that's left is to secure the dubbing to the material of the fly itself so that it doesn't come separated. It also, the nice thing about it too is it kind of makes it into this one material. It conjoins the dubbing of the butt of the fly with the body of the chenille of the fly, and that makes it a lot more durable, which I like. Now I'm just going to come in, touch up the body so that it's going from fatter at the front of the fly to thinner, because most worms are going to taper down, and that's kind of what I'm attempting to do here. I've seen some people leave the dubbing tail really, really long. I'm kind of just doing variations. This is literally an experiment. It's kind of growing over time with different collars and colors that I want to use, but This is what it looks like right now. If you stay tuned, you can see a couple more videos of me using it to catch some fish. Thanks for watching. So I am at my in-laws' house fishing their docks, something I like to do every morning, evening when I'm hanging out with them. And I'm using my Tenkara rod just to keep it simple with this Micro Ned Rig fly. What I do is I let it sink until I think it's hitting the bottom. The way that I do that is I'll drop the fly in the water while it's on the line and see how long it takes for it to sink, like 1 or 2 feet, figure out what it is in like 1,000, 2 1,000, and then I'll like count to 10 or 15 depending on how deep I think the bottom of the water is. The one thing I can't stand about fly fishing is how lightweight the flies are, especially when you're using floating line. And so these Tenkara rods are good because the flies will sink faster since they don't have to fight against the buoyancy of your fly line. I catch my first perch on the fly after just really being slow with my retrieve. This is in East Texas on Cherokee Lake, and it was just the first of many fish I caught during that trip. And then actually I ended up going out with Cousin Neil on his flat bottom boat to Skelly Lake, where I caught a ton of fish with this fly and many others. That's what the clip is that's next. So now we're on Skelly Lake with Cousin Neil. And what I've done here, I'm using floating line, so I'm having to fish it slower when I let the fly, I'll throw it out and I'll let it sit for anywhere between 6 and 12 seconds so that it's all the way at the bottom. And then I'll kind of do a jerky motion on my retrieve. I'm using a 5-weight rod with floating line, which is a great way to catch normal sized bass. But this lake is just full of small and medium sized bass, and I was super happy to get this guy. Look how sparkly that material is when it's wet. Oh, I just love those flies when they're wet. So the action I'm doing like a twitch. Kind of when you see conventional fishermen fish a Ned rig, they're going to have their rod tip down and just kind of be really slow and do little hits when they're just kind of inching the Ned rig fly back. I'm trying to do the same thing except with my strips. So I'm doing short, quick strips. Once I know that the fly's on the bottom, this lake's super shallow. Like where we were fishing, it was probably max 6 feet deep, so I didn't have to wait that long. Here, actually, I missed a fly on the hook set, and then Neil points it back out and instantly get it. It was probably my favorite moment of the entire day. Super fun. Skelly Lake is a great, like 150-acre private pond, essentially out right next to Longview, Texas. It's one of my favorite places to go. But hey, if you got anything out of this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe, do a thumbs up. It helps a lot. And then make a recommendation. Should I be tying other types of flies, other color combinations? Let me know in the comments. I really appreciate you watching. Have a nice day.